All my salutations to Acharya ji. So today our topic is basically where to draw a line between right and wrong in many activities that we do on a day-to-day basis. So basically, is there any absolute dimensions to it when you say the concept of right or wrong? Is there any absolute dimensions to it, or is it all relative? Is a confusing question that we all have. Now, saying that, but in spite of we have a lot of confusions, we basically need to take the right decisions at the right time and also in the right way, so that we can have our mental health balanced and also the physical health balanced. So we have Acharya Prashant ji to interact with us on this topic today. And it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome you, sir, to this event.
I'm glad to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I would like to commence today's session with a question from my side. So my basically first question is about spreading the concept of veganism. So I have heard from many religious discourses that cruelty and compassion originate from the same source, and they are inseparable. So my first question is that true? And what is your input?
No, not at all. Not at all. You see, there are certain things that are not of the mind. They are not actually things at all, but for want of a better word, let's just call them things. So obviously, cruelty is of the mind. And then what we usually call as care and concern in our layman language, that too is of the mind. But compassion is a different animal altogether. Suits when we are talking of veganism to call compassion as a different animal in a different dimension. So the opposite of cruelty is not compassion. The opposite of cruelty is often either attachment or possessiveness or taking care of those who are related to you by way of self-interest. So that's the domain of duality. So yes, it is true that the mind wanders about in duality, and then there is hope and there is hopelessness, and then there is friendship, and then there is enmity. So all these are aspects of duality. But compassion does not sit anywhere in the dualistic framework. Compassion is when one can transcend the usual center of the mind. Let me elaborate, please. Operating from my usual egoistic center, if it is in my perceived interest to hurt someone, demolish someone, or simply slaughter and eat someone, that we'll call as cruelty. Now the act is of butchery and debauchery, and it appears very violent. The violence is very obvious. But it's not the act that we must focus on, but the actor. The actor is the ego. The actor is the ego. Now please see that when we express care and concern towards those who are related to us, let's say by blood or by interest or simply by accident, then are we not again operating from the same center? So the center has not changed. The center has not changed. Now that's duality. Just as when you have a simple pendulum oscillating, the extremes that it swipes, they change, but the center does not change. And that's when you call it the normal run of duality. The thing is oscillating from this side to that side, but it is hinged at one particular place to a particular center. In case of human beings, that center is called the ego. So operating from my ego, I like to take care of this one, and operating from the same egoistic center, I want to hurt the other one. And often I want to hurt the other one just so that I can take care of someone else. Like a butcher slaughtering animals so that he can take care of his family. That's duality. He's the same person when he's slaughtering, and he's exactly the same person when he takes the proceeds of the slaughter and hands it over to his family, to his son, daughter, or wife, or somebody. These two acts appear very, very dramatically different. Slaughtering an animal versus, let's say, caressing a baby. How different do they look? But let's please see that they come from the same center. And had it not been for the purpose of taking care of that baby, the fellow would probably not have needed to slaughter the animal. So these two things are linked. And that's why two aspects of duality are said to be as inseparable as two faces of a coin. But compassion is altogether different. Compassion is when you are not operating from ego at all. Compassion is not about the ego wearing a pleasant face. Compassion is about transcending your limited self-interest. So cruelty and compassion in no way are two sides of the same coin. So when we say that, we actually pull down compassion to the level of cruelty. And when we do that, obviously we have a vested self-interest. We want to prove that the compassionate ones are actually no different than the cruel ones. And in that way, the cruel ones want to save their skin. They want to say, it's a thing of my choice, I'm being cruel. Another moment, another situation, I exhibit compassion. Similarly, you are being compassionate in this particular case. At some other point, you too will become cruel. So there is really no difference between the two of us. So this is, you see, just a very silly kind of tactic that people use to justify their cruelty. Compassion is what makes us human. The usual center of self-interest, which we are calling as the ego, is something that we find among animals as well. Animals too team up. Animals too display friendliness. But only towards those who would be of some tangible use to them.
This was, thank you very much, sir. This was actually an enlightening session. I was having this doubt for so many years, ever since I have turned out to be a vegan. I was a vegetarian when after I knew the cruelty behind I turned out to be a vegan. But ever since I was trying to make people understand what is the essence of veganism, this is one of the questions which I was not able to clearly make people understand. So I think, the second question has no validity now. My second question has whether compassion will stay as a single entity. Now I understood, yes.
Please repeat the question, and nevertheless, please.
The second question was, if they are two sides of the same coin, then whether compassion will exist as a single entity. But from your explanation, I understood that they are not.
Obviously. You see, compassion has to exist in a standalone way, not another side of cruelty. It is because, you see, we've used the word compassion very loosely in our vernacular. In our everyday conversations, we use that word in a very unconscious way. So, for example, if a mother is exhibiting a certain behavior towards her child, we start calling that love and sometimes even compassion. But that's not that. If I am being good towards someone who is related to me via self-interest, that is not compassion. Compassion is a relationship free of self-interest. You see, the dog on the road can hardly give me anything. In fact, there is a danger if I go close to it, it might turn upon me, bark or even bite. But still, if I want to do something nice to it, that probably comes close to compassion. Taking care of the ones who are related to you by way of a reciprocal arrangement can hardly be called as compassion. I do good to you, and in the bargain you will do good to me. That's not compassion. Taking care of people who belong to your own sect or community or ideology, that too again cannot be called as compassion. Or taking care of people because that would fetch you fame or something, recognition, that again cannot be called as compassion. Wherever self-interest is involved, compassion is ruled out. And self-interest is seen both in cruelty and in the normal kind of care and concern. None of these belong to the same plane as compassion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.